Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. Syrian rebel fighters are to launch a major military operation backed by Turkish forces from inside Turkey in a northern Syrian province largely controlled by terrorists. In a televised speech, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan said there is a serious operation in Syria's Idlib province today that will continue, adding that Turkey would not allow a terror corridor on its border with Syria. The incursion is being carried out after Iran, Russia and Turkey agreed last month to reduce fighting between insurgents and the government in the northwest. The operation aims at curbing the Tahrir al-Sham alliance, Syria's strongest terrorist group apart from Daesh, and at securing Turkey's frontier. Tens of thousands of people gathered in peaceful protests across Spain as Catalonia prepared to declare independence. Dressed in white and carrying banners calling for peace and dialogue between leaders, protesters in Barcelona took to the streets in a march dubbed Let's Talk. In Madrid, meanwhile, thousands gathered beneath the Spanish flag in Colón Plaza chanting Viva España, Viva Catalonia. On October 1st, Catalonia held a referendum on leaving Spain, a vote the Constitutional Court had banned. So far, the political standoff has divided the country, pushed banks and companies to move their headquarters outside Catalonia, and shaken market confidence in the Spanish economy. As tensions run high over North Korea's nuclear weapons and missile programs, Pyongyang is said to be preparing a long-range missile test in the near future, which can reach the west coast of the United States. According to a Russian lawmaker who had just returned from a visit to North Korea, he was shown calculations that the missile could hit America. In Washington, U.S. officials say there have been signs Pyongyang could be planning a missile test on or around October 10th, which is the anniversary of the founding of the ruling Korean Workers' Party and a day after Columbus Day in the U.S. Muslim Rohingyas continue to flee Myanmar to Bangladesh as the United Nations braces itself for possible further exodus. The UN Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs reiterated the World Body's appeal for access to the population in northern Rakhine state, saying the current situation was unacceptable. Here's more.
6 weeks after the world's fastest developing refugee emergency began, the United Nations says it's bracing for a possible further exodus of Rohingya Muslims from Myanmar. More than 500,000 refugees have now fled to neighbouring Bangladesh after escaping a bloody crackdown by the Myanmar military. The UN says the flow of people over the border hasn't stopped yet and plans to send a senior official to Myanmar in the coming days.
The access we have in Rakhine, especially in northern Rakhine, is unacceptable. And we repeat our call to the authorities in Myanmar to put in place the arrangements that make it possible for humanitarians, not just UN, but across the piece, humanitarians to do their normal work.
Myanmar has blocked most access to the area, though some agencies have offices open in towns there. Myanmar officials say they've tried to reassure those wanting to flee to Bangladesh, but couldn't stop them from leaving.
My husband was killed. After that, I was facing too many problems with my 4 children. I left Myanmar and came here so they could get food.
With almost 300,000 Rohingya now in urgent need of food in Bangladesh, aid agencies are warning of a malnutrition crisis. About 900,000 doses of cholera vaccine are due to arrive this weekend, with a vaccination campaign expected to start on Tuesday.
A number of pedestrians have been injured in London when a car mounted the pavement they were standing on. Police described the incident near the city's Natural History Museum as a collision and detained the driver. Police are still trying to determine the circumstances. Britain is on its second highest security alert level after 5 attacks this year, 3 involving a vehicle. New Orleans is preparing for a major storm. Local residents were evacuated as Tropical Storm Nate swirled toward the U.S. Gulf Coast after killing at least 26 people in Central America. Nate is set to become a Category 1 hurricane by the time it hits the U.S. coast later this evening. A state of emergency was declared for 29 Florida counties and states near Nate's path, as well as the city of New Orleans, which was devastated by Hurricane Katrina in 2005. The storm has killed at least 13 people in Nicaragua, 9 in Costa Rica, 2 in Honduras, and 2 in El Salvador. Back here at home, the annual Diplomatic Bazaar opened today with the participation of 51 embassies and diplomatic missions in Jordan. Patronizing the event, Princess Basma said the bazaar embodies the concept of social responsibility of participating countries and reflects humanitarian work and values of solidarity. The charity bazaar's proceeds go in support of Mabarrat Al Hussein, which is a home for orphaned and underprivileged boys established in 1958 by the late Queen Zain al-Sharaf to improve orphans' living conditions. China unveiled its rapid progress in the fastest bullet train manufacturing technology. Its latest generation of the Fuxing bullet train, meaning rejuvenation in Chinese, went into service on the Beijing-Shanghai line. It featured a new design and better passenger comfort at a higher consistent speed of 350 kilometers per hour. The train is equipped with advanced shock absorption and crash prevention devices to prevent carriages and equipment from being damaged. Designed with a service life of 30 years, 10 years more than the previous models, Fuxing consumes 10% less power. In sports, Formula One leader Lewis Hamilton smashed the Suzuka track record to seize a dominant Japanese Grand Prix pole position, with Ferrari rival Sebastian Vettel lining up alongside on the front row. The Mercedes driver produced a stunning fastest lap of 1 minute and 27.319 seconds for his first pole at the 5.8-kilometer track and 71st of his career. His teammate Valtteri Bottas was second quickest but dropped 5 places down the grid. Hamilton leads the German by 34 points. After 140 kilometers of running across some of the world's most inhospitable terrain, American Alexander Zandi Mangold leads the Atacama Desert Race going into today's final stage. The athletes are racing across Chile's Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth. Angela Zia holds a comfortable lead in the women's race. 86 competitors are still in the race, with 12% of them already pulling out of the grueling race. And finally, a look at the weather forecast. Fair conditions continue across the kingdom, with temperatures around seasonal average and winds northwesterly moderate to brisk. Amman can expect a high of 27 degrees Celsius tomorrow, dropping down to 17 at night. In the Gulf of Aqaba, it will be hot with a high of 35 degrees and a low of 24 at night, while winds will be northerly moderate and the seas calm. With this, we come to the end of tonight's news. I'm Dana Bisham. Thanks for watching and have a good night.